that is why it's indicating do not validate your own work here. So, okay, thank you for recording. Let me just do a quick one from the beginning. Okay, I've editing it down to GSM. So when the tag is picked already, it gives you a sign in the editor box that there's a sign under it, which you are still going to do a quick demo, where you're going to see your GSM, ID editor, and Rapid, which you can use those ones to validate. But it is required for you to use GSM, that's the Java OpenStreetMap, to validate. So when that is picked, you are now going to direct it to your JOSM. So, and your JSM must be already open. The software must be already open on your laptop before you can validate the particular tags. So, validating with JSM, that's the Java OpenStreetMap editor. So, the OSM data that is taken from the tagging manager is directly automatic open, doing plugins, some activities on your own interface. That's the GSM interface. So that's what it's telling us here. Talking about the adjust images offsets. So make sure that the map objects are aligned with the imagery. That is our first number one thing you have to do. We have to check if those buildings, if those road, if the land use and the stream are aligned with the imagery. So, and if they are not aligned, you just have to adjust the imagery offsets to fit in with the feature data that are already mapped on the area, on the tags you are validating. So next is the make sure the objects are mapped correctly. Yes, you have to zoom in. You have to zoom in very well to those areas. You have to check if those areas are mapped correctly. You have to check if they are correctly mapping those buildings, if they correctly map those roads. And don't forget, this is a remote mapping. You have to check their consistency. You have to check their completeness. That's the tag they are attaching to each of every time of every feature. The tags, is this road footprint, is this road unclassified? You have to check it as a validator. So that is why we have to check the consistency, the tag completeness of the mapping object, and also try to check at the anomaly of there's no other object left on map. Like you have to check the imagery if there are no other leftover objects to map on these particular tags. So once all buildings and roads are checked from the topo view from the imagery, we have to use our GSM tools, which we call it validation results. We are going to see that on the red button. On the red button, when we open our GSM interface, you're going to see that validation results. And if we don't have that, I'm going to do a demo where we can add our validation results to check the validation of that particular tax, to take the validation of that particular tax. And when this is clicked, it's going to give you errors on that particular tax, errors that maybe we are having an overlaying, we are having and the validation result windows. If there's no result activation, you have to click on that blue tick to activate it on your GSM. So this is an example of the validation results. So when you click on this validation, it gives you result based on the tags you are having on your screen, based on the validation tags you are currently validating. So these are examples of errors we can face in while we are validating a tags. Error like buildings duplications node, that's maybe the buildings are having overlay on each other. And we are also having warnings. One is like building inside building, maybe they are trying to map. There are some buildings that when they have a space within the building, so you're not trying to map the building and the little space, and you forgot not the person, the mapper to multi-join the building together. So that's when you're going to be having error like building inside building. And sometimes maybe the place is a cluster area and the mappers is trying to map buildings, and a little building is now overlaying on another building. That's is crossing on another building. That's when we have this error. And the unnamed way, maybe you are trying to map out a road and is not properly tagged or is not properly giving a name. Let me just use tag because mostly tags road, that's when it gives us this error, particularly unnamed way. So that's when we have that particular error. So these are things we have to just check one after the other. And from here, if you have a cluster area, like you have a large area, you can easily zoom in from this particular result area. You can just click on the error and click zoom to location, like zoom to where the error is going to take you down to their place. That's why GSM is very good in validating. So yeah, these are okay. I've explained the errors and the warning already. So the error are the important to fix. That's mean you have to check this one. Do not ignore this error. Like you should not ignore those error. But if you see something like error, do not ignore it. It's very, very important to what to check those error. So warning is like the problem that are important to fix, but in some cases they are like that. There are sometimes when we are mapping a large area. Let me just use the southwest. In the particular compound, you may have like 3 buildings, and the buildings are not connected to each other. So a mapper may just map each building together, and when you're not checking, you're like, okay, you're having buildings inside building, or another person just map the whole building as one. So that cases, you have to just check it very well and correct it. So those unnamed are the one that when you're mapping a road and you get an error of the unnamed way, maybe it's not properly tagged, or yeah, mostly roads are not all properly tagged. So that's when it brings up this warning, especially. So we have to understand the two signs in this validation, the error and the warning, while we are validating any tags we are validating. So now moving to the errors. So okay, so the error now we segment it. So for the errors now, we can click easily fix. There's a tools there that you can just click on and fix it. So select the one of the error and click fix. It's going to fix it for you. And for the warning, you can just easily click on the building to zoom in to the particular place and fix it one after the other, fixing it one after the other, because crossing building may be like 2 or 3. You have to just zoom in and check one after the other. So these are errors that we commonly found. Some errors that duplicating nodes, like some people just have different node on each other, and that's a particular task. So you can just have to zoom in very well and check it. When you now identify, okay, we're having 2 nodes here, you can just pick one, delete, and leave the other one. So, and also you can also screenshot it and check the person who mapped that area, and tag the person on your group, or maybe the person is on your group, or you can even message the person through the response of the taxi manager that, hey, I noticed that you have a duplicate node in this area. Please, when next you're mapping, try and check your duplicate nodes and so on. So you can also call the attention of the mapper. So these are common errors, like see the buildings of the looking at the imagery and looking the future data. You see that it's not even aligned with the imagery. Even though the imagery is blur, we know where the buildings are coming from. We know it's not slant like what is individual input. So we have to check those errors too. So moving and deleting clustering building. So when a validator zoom into this particular area, try and identify the buildings very well with the imagery. And also the validators can also check with another imagery, but it is compulsory to check with the imagery that is notified. That, okay, use blink to validate, or use maxa imagery to validate. You have to, and you have the chance to check different imagery. Okay, this person that map crossing building here, you can check use different imagery to confirm the area. Is this place having duplicate building? Why is this coming up? Because mappers may just use default imagery, and what they see, that's what they will map. And as a validator, you can compare to check different imagery to know where the error is coming from before validating this. So you just have to correct it by removing one building and leaving the other. So for the crossing way too, yes, no, this especially the road, most mappers have difficulties in this a lot anytime they are mapping roads. So the crossing ways also, the to add a node intersections. Every junctions there is always a node there, because the node can serve as a roundabout, it can serve as a lot while you are mapping road. So but when you just put a line, when this line is not a bridge, is a road. So from this place to this place now, I can just classify, put it a bridge if there's a bridge there, and if there's no, I will actually match it down with the road, because the road is coming on its own and this one is also close. So there should be a node that intersects, that there's an intersection between the two lines. So that will serve as the 2 points for both the, let me just say, the federal road and the state road. So I think, yeah, that can even give an example. So that middle point is an intersection that we have to just fix that, okay, this one and this one are meeting in this particular area, not like a building, a road overlaying a road. I think we get that. So that's why it's called crossing way. So we can just correct that by fixing. I will also run a quick demo on this to show us how these are really done and corrected. So the overlaying of highways too, the overlaying of highways maybe we are having two feature data in a particular highway, and it is indicating maybe the same route or different channel. Maybe a road coming from, let me just say, Abuja um going to Lokoja. They are the same road, but where you are going inside Lokoja, you're not coming down to Ogun State or something. So that same highway, you now, the mappers may particular map that area, map the road continuously and go to his own route, while another mapper may now take that same highway, map it, and go to another route. So we have to check those points. Why we just have to pick those points, delete one line and leave the other line, and indicate that as an highway. One line can have different routes. Yes, one line can have a different route. Thus, what we did talk about in the other one, the crossing way, that's the crossing way. You can just start a point from a line and start mapping. So you can also serve that as another tag and all. So we have to check this very well, the overlaying and the overlapping highway. So node connect highways and building. So yes, this happens a lot when mappers are trying to map roads and building together. So sometimes the mappers may not be conscious of them mapping the building overlaying the road. So sometimes when the road is there, they can just map the building. The mappers may not zoom in very well to pick out the 4 points of the building. And while they map it, it can pick a node from the highway. So these are errors that we should try to look out for. So for us now, we are going to separate the buildings and the road. We separate the two, and to separate, just click on one, press your G, and it's going to separate the node. And that's actually a short key to separate the node from the building and the highway. So untagged way, yes, these are example of untagged way. There are sometimes mappers will map feature data and routes without tagging it, without a let me just say proper tag or untag it. So we have to check, okay, this feature data is not tagged. We have to click on it and tag it. If you are tagging for road, we should pick it, and if you are tagging for building, we should indicate the building equals to yes and y road equals to unclassified or free or um, footprint or something. Just look for the tag and all. I think the tag is going to be shared with us while the mapping section is going on. So yes, also this is another example, way end node near other highways. Yes, so there are some roads that when the mappers are mapping this road, they don't connect it with the highways, maybe with the end street point. So now let's look at this example here. This particular node here is a street. Coming from this street now, the mapper should have connect this node with this particular highway, like say road or highway. Should just connect it to this point here, but he leaves it on way end node. So it's just like, okay, there's a road there, but that's just like the on the end of the road is a fence. That's what this person is trying to tell us. But while we are looking at imagery, we can see that it's connected with the um there's a connection to the highway. So we, the validators, can just pick this node and join it with this. That's where we have Control J to join both this road and this street together, the highway and the street road together. So we use it as merge to contribute to make those two highways together. So yes, these are example of building inside building. Yes. So what you just have to fix is that we move one and we delete one. So we just have to check it very well. Okay, when I rent it, so that's for this. That's how to fix this particular one. So yes, unnamed ways, these are unnamed ways that are not tagged, and maybe they not add names to them. Maybe okay, highway of Akure, highway of this, highway of that. So it's just map. It can tell you that, oh, this is an error, or it's just giving a warning, but it's not an error. It's just giving a warning that okay, this is a warning of this particular feature data. You can just ignore it. Okay, because it's a remote mapping, you may not know the name and you may know the name. So is on way 50-50. So you can just easily ignore this particular error. So we have similar names ways. So yeah, these are similar ways, but in remote mapping, mostly this one does not really happen. I've not seen this error particularly on my own end, but it happens, no, giving a particular street the same name, like the same name all through, the same name all through is also an error. You can just, if you don't know, you can be ignored by the road name, or it's really similar. So you can just easily ignore it. Just like there's a street in VI that mostly all the name of that street is the same thing. So you can just give out, okay, this is a error or a warning. You can just easily ignore it. So yeah, despite tag. So these are a tag that we can just add using how to fix it. Just indicate, is it in? No, this is it in? Instead of is it in, you can just add the province. So I think that is more what they're talking about the tags. So I will actually just do a quick demo to show all these errors that we have, errors and warning we have encountered so far. So yes, this is when we are now uploading. Yes, when we are uploading the change set to when that tax is part is validated well. So make sure the right change set, comment, and image is selected before uploading the change. We can just check everything, and even to give comments or well and good, you can also check the change set. You can check the image you used to validate it. So when that is done, you can just go back to your taxi manager and pick yes, tax well mapped, and you can also give your comment. You can possibly call out the mappers to to indicate one or two errors you found while you're validating his or her tax, and so you can also submit the tax. And so this does the overview of what I've explained so far. Choosing a grid in the alt taxi manager. Is the image aligned with the road OSM roads data? No, you have to align it. And if all buildings are correctly aligned, no, you have to align the buildings with the imagery. Is it well digitated? Yes, digitized. Yes, you have to just check the four corners of the building. And when all this is done, you can now run the validation tools. That's the validation results interface. You can just run that to check if there are any other errors. So these are when you run the validation tools, you can just easily check this one anytime you are validating to check the duplicate node and fix it, the duplicate ways, fix it. So the crossing building, untagged way, shared node between objects, crossing building with land use or stream or road. You can just easily fix that. So and also checking the crossways, unconnected highways, and you can just easily fix all that. So these are everything we explain so far, and where these are the places the resources are getting from, Yeah, thank you all for listening. Any question before we can just do a quick demo and all. Thank you. So any questions so far?
Well, Mercy, thanks for that very brief summary. So what Mercy was using is actually the humanitarian. It's from the humanitarian OpenStreetMap toolbox. The link for that presentation I will share in the comments. I mean, it's a presentation that you can have access to because it's it's supposed to guide all forms of validation, and you can refer back to it. So if there are any questions, this will be the most ideal time. Anyone understand anything so far? Anybody have any questions or contributions? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Messi. It's a wonderful walkthrough, and I'm very sure we've learned one or two things. And yeah, the floor is open for others too. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Contributions are welcome, or questions, or yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mercy, for the walkthrough. Um, I want to know if everyone here has validated a task before, or there are people that are new to validation.
So basically, I think everyone here have done one or two validation before. So it's just like kind of refresh answers to share knowledge based, because I
Okay,
believe that there are some things that we also want to probably want to share from each other or learn from each other.
okay,
Yes, thank you.
okay.
Basically, thank you. So I guess everyone is fine with what Mesa has walked us through, which is also good for everyone. So basically, I would just want to also share some things that I believe will help both teams, because definitely we're all mapping Nigeria, and definitely we need to do a very good job so that Nigeria as a country is well mapped, and also we get future recommendations for future projects, and also people learn and they are good mappers. So basically, as Mr. Anyo, I think we've discussed, and I told me that JOSIM is the ideal tool for mapping, and we are going to be using the AI mapping tool. So what I basically observe most of the time is that for most of Nigeria, the AI mapping, the AI buildings are there. However, you have to make adjustments. So the most important thing is that based on this project, we have to use the AI mapping, the AI buildings. So based on my own investigation, I'm very sure people will be tempted during mapping to delete those buildings and create new ones in some places. So I will advise and I will recommend that for us not to do that, for us to adjust, for us to do adjustments instead of deleting them, because one of the major mapping criteria for this project is using those AI buildings. So I strongly recommend everybody when doing the cascade of the training and also the training the mappers and the validators, when you are mapping, do not delete the AI buildings. You can duplicate it. One. Another thing I noticed is that some of them are already tagged. Some of these buildings are tagged already. Sometimes you see buildings, I think shops or something. And in real life, they might not be shop. So you also have to be cognizant of the tags they put on it. The tags, the buildings may be correct, the building footprint may be correct, but the tags on it might not be correct. So when you are also mapping or when you are validating, look out for those tags. You find out that the tags, I've seen a lot that I've worked on. I'll see tags, they'll push up, and the tag is a residential building. So it's better you just put building yes if you are not sure and remove the tag than leaving it as building shop or something. I think it's something we also want to we should look at when we are mapping or we are validating. So another issue that we've not really talked about, okay, another issue we've not really talked about is which is ship image when the image does not align. That means there will be a lot of image shifting in some places. We've all talked about the ping is the main base image, but sometimes the image does not align. So it's also important we look and be careful around that. And also when we are validating, we should ensure that we validate with the image of the project, which is ping. That we don't necessarily have different image background and be validating different things. Uh, yes, so I'll pause for now and I'll give the floor to Mr. Kenny. Thank you. Over. Mr. Kenny, you have the floor, please. Hello.
All right, Kasim, good afternoon. Thank you, Annie, Messi, for the beautiful illustrations that you've demonstrated. As part of the validation, as part of the job that validation will be doing, I don't know, maybe agree that there's a need to also look at for buildings that are under construction. So I don't know if the team is aware about what we need to do around this because it's something that is very easy to overlook at the end of the day. I want to be sure that it's part of the things that we are looking for. Just a additional comment. Thank you.
Okay,
Yes.
so while I was doing the validation, our own validator our own training started yesterday with just me and the validators, and I went through the data model. The data model captures all of the features, including the buildings under construction. So that has been exposed to all of our own people. Just a response to your question. Thank you.
Yes. I think the building under construction is going to be mapped. But what I notice is that for tags, when you want to add building, the tag for building, yes, automatically in I think in just me, the building construction is not building yes. So when you have building yes, you don't building yes is building yes. So when you have building and it's other construction, it's going to be building construction. That is going to be the value. So you don't need to put building yes. So that means instead of saying building yes, you say building construction. I don't even get that is going to be the tag and the value. The tag is building, the value is construction. So it goes like even on Just Me and on Rapid AI. So if the building is a construction building under construction, you put building construction. So I think it has been agreed. It's a project something that every building that is under construction should be mapped. Thank you. Over.
All right. Thank you, Kasim. Thank you, Mr. Ayo, for the clarification. In fact, Kasim, today, this afternoon in the morning, with the team that I was with in our Lagos Education Centers, there was a confusion around this because we're trying to, add additional tags to the building, yes, but it wasn't accepting the two. So it was rather it was rather overriding the existing tags. But so right now, I think it is clear. Thank you.
Yes. So that's what we have to do. Is it that
Sorry,
building? Yes.
quick question.
If the building is okay.
Sorry. Kende, what were you guys using? Were you using ID or Joseph?
No, we use JOSIM, but there were the area that we were working on, the map with ID. Sorry, the AI data was not available, so we have to. You understand? In fact, where it isn't available, most of these building under constructions are not available. So we're looking at, I mean, using the building plugin to create that data. So we created the data, it comes with building years tags. So we wanted to add another tax that will say this building is a building, yes, but we want to have another tag that says this building is under construction. So it wasn't accepting the two of them. Rather, it was overriding the existing tax, which said the building is yes. So I think now Kasim already clarified that there can only be one tax. Over.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Sorry, Kazim, before you speak. So we are all working on an open source platform with open source tools, and feedback is, well, I, I won't say it's a project requirement. It's just the ethical thing to do. So maybe if you have any issues, we are definitely going to set up like an error document, because while doing our own, when we started our own validator training, one thing that we know is a lot of these platforms, the tasking manager, JOSM itself, and even OpenStreetMap, they have developers that are continuously updating them. So things change. So if there's any issue that it's not working normally, or you can't access an API, maybe you can document the date and the time. Then every week, maybe we can all come together and submit those to the appropriate groups or teams working on it. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that is also
Oh,
a very good.
yeah. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Ayo. I think this is very important for us to take note. So everyone, please take note of all of these things. So, and in addition to that, there's something I also want to bring to our attention. Over the weekend, I took some time to do extensive mapping, not on the task manager task, but in my neighborhood. I did some extensive mapping and just realized that in some places that I choose, the AI data is only probably about 40%, and the Africa building maybe about 5%, and sometimes it's not even available. But so I have to do a lot of manual mapping using the building plugin. But what I realize is that the building plugins, when you use it to create about 5 building consistently, the 2 3 additional building that you will be creating, the lines will be as if the snap tolerance is activated. You understand? I tried to check the version of the building plugin that I was using. I was using the latest one. And I also tried to go online to see if this kind of inconsistencies are being reported. You know, I have not found any meaningful readings around this. But I want to also ask all of you to please look out for this kind of thing, or maybe it's a problem from my side. But what I just noticed is that if I create about 10, 7, 20, 10, maximum 7, 8 buildings consistently, the next few 2 3 will be problematic. Then after some time it will come back again. Well, maybe when I get back to my system, I'll try and do a recording, you understand, of these things and share, so that I can provide a very clear illustration of the frustration I'm going through. This need to be actually be removed. I mean, we need to find a way around this for areas that we may have to do extensive manual mapping, but hopefully we will not have to come to this. I want to believe that the AI data is available for all of our project areas. Over. Thank you.
Thanks, Kendi. Thanks very much for this experiment that you have tried, and thanks so much for the feedback, because everybody can hear you. And obviously, from your own experience, it wasn't available everywhere. So even if it's not available, and even the predictions, even where it's available, it actually skips buildings as well. So even where it's available and you think it's 100%, there's still one or two gaps. There's still things that hasn't been. While we were in Abuja, there were the road plugin, the Facebook roads. There were roads that it did not predict. It predicted some and it left some out. Only God knows why all of that works. But the very first thing I would even suggest is to update everything. I mean, make sure you have the latest version of the JOSM. Make sure you have the latest versions of everything. Of course, we've been using I assume everybody here has been using them before, but over the weekend, before the mapping proper starts, which I think is next week, I mean, from the timelines, just take time to upgrade everything that you may be using for the project. Thank you. Kazim, over to you. I think you wanted to speak.
So thank you. I think I want to add one more thing. I don't know if I jumped in on or I'm good to talk now. Hello?
I can hear you.
Hello? Okay, so please, another thing we did not
Kasim, I think you have
mention.
the floor.
Okay, another thing we did not mention, which I realized, and it's going to be coming up, and I think we need to cascade. You know, when you're mapping a taxi manager, we try to divide the project into for us. We try to, and I'm very sure everybody will do that. We try to divide it into manageable tasks, manageable cells. So the overlap will happen. So we also have to tell mappers when they are mapping, they should have like a center around them. That means within that center, nobody maps because overlap will happen. So we don't discuss the issue of how mappers will manage overlap. And this will be a problem for validators too if they don't start doing it from because a cell, for instance, some buildings will cross across into the other cell, into the other grid. So who is going to map it? So what I always tell people is that when you're mapping, everybody should take a particular side, whether everybody should take an area. When you take, like, if I'm mapping somewhere, every other squares that are around me, that means I pick a point, every other squares around me, nobody maps it so that I can easily do the overlap. That's the strategy. I don't know if anybody has a better strategy or there's something we can think around because it's going to happen. The squares are put to be small into manageable mapping grids for mappers so that you don't get tired, you finish, move on to the next one. But also, the advantage that come with it is that the building splits into over the net grids. And it will become confusing if people are mapping it, especially for us that are mapping urban areas. So my own solution is around you mapping. If I pick a grid, nobody map around that grid. That's my solution. I don't know if anybody has any other thing we can do. So I'm just throwing it open. Thank you. Over. Hello, over.
Well, I can hear you. I guess
Okay.
everyone else can. So maybe, I mean, there doesn't seem to be many. Well, if there are any more contributions, because we said 3 to 4, and this is 3:52, even though we started a bit
Yes.
late. Um, and it's always good to try to keep meetings within the time that we
Ye-
agreed.
Yes, yes. So for my own end, I think we are good. Thanks, Messi. Thanks, and thanks everybody that has joined. For us, I think it's about Nigeria. So it's not really about an organization because we want to give the best out. We want it to be the best. When we map, people can reference this work, especially for students. They can reference it in their project. They can reference it in other tasks. They can reference it in their CV. The quality and the truth is that the quality of when it's good, I'm telling you the truth. By the time you go on in life, you will see places that have used it, and you'll be proud to say, yes, I supported this work, I worked on this. That OpenStreetMap, that work that I've done, I'm always proud to say, okay, I supported this, I was the one that did this, I was the one that did that. So thank you, everyone. Over.
Okay, so thanks, Kazim. We too as well. Well, from a personal perspective, like you said, it's about mapping Nigeria. Secondly, everything that we're using has been developed by other people who are working in other parts of the world, and they have stronger communities. For example, like the tasking manager, the global one that we're using, OpenStreetMap USA has their own tasking manager that they don't put their projects on this general one. It's my own long-term view that all of us eventually will be able to collaborate at that level, whereby we can have a community that is driving quality data for Nigeria. Um, well, one of our own hashtags is called MapNigeria, which obviously describes our main objective. But like Azim also said, we're all working together, even though we're under different organizations, but we're all working on the same platform and we all have the same goals. Now, for everyone here who is a validator, it means you must have done some extensive work on OpenStreetMap before. So you must have had other reasons to do so. So well, looking forward to working with you guys, and hopefully we shall, like Azim said, deliver superficial quality data, and on the long term, become a stronger and larger team, across the entire country to put data on this platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And bye bye. Thank you. Thank you. Please, you can help us share the recordings so that people can also walk through later. Thank you very
Yes, I
much.
will. I will actually. Well, I have to stop the recording. In fact, let me do it now, in case because if I forget, the thing will, and I'll share it on YouTube and share a YouTube link so that
Okay. Okay.
it can easily be referenced or downloaded or yeah.
Okay.